how's it going? It is July 22nd, and today I had my Hey, how's it going? It is July 22nd, and earlier today I had my pre-op consultation with Dr. Garcia at Cedars-Sinai Hospital for my phalloplasty. I am so excited and so overwhelmed simultaneously, but I finally got a lot of questions answered and really have a direction to move forward in. I've since been further comforted by someone who's taken the time to talk to me. I'm so appreciative, who had the experience with them a couple of years ago and work within this space. So they have a lot of knowledge, and they turned me away pretty quickly from a mild freak out, but I'm really excited. The next steps are going to be getting my letters. I need 2 letters from psychiatry, and I also need to start on my laser hair removal. So I'll talk a little bit about the process. I got there pretty quickly. I was brought into the room. I then met with Andy, who's the nurse practitioner there, fantastic, and really just warm. I felt totally respected, no slips on pronouns or anything. Everything was really smooth. We just went over questions and different things like that. Then there was quite a wait to get to see Dr. Garcia, but you know, it happens at all doctors' offices, and especially with Garcia, I understand things are really chaotic. For those who don't know, phalloplasty with Garcia is a urology specialist, but he is also the director of the whole program for transgender surgeries at the center there. So, you know, he's top dog. They're definitely one of the best teams. It's Dr. Garcia partnered up with Dr. Ray, and I already met with Dr. Ray. You can go back and watch my video on that. So we talked a lot about the different stages and how long it's going to be. Ultimately, we've gone with radio forearm, so RFF. We're gonna do the left arm, which is why I have my arm like this. You're probably saying, Jamie, why would you choose the left arm when you've got a tattoo there? Well, I'm predominantly right-handed, and the tattoo actually won't be seen when they did the surgery. It'll actually be on the inside, so it'll be kind of humorous to have New York always a part of my urethra. That's kind of funny. It's funny to me. Anyway, so I can always get that patched up. You know, it'll probably only be like half of it that is cut off. We're expecting to cover up with the butt cheek flaps. So that's something that is new to their team, and basically what they found is that it's just a softer, thicker skin, and so it just heals really nicely on the arm, as opposed to covering up with stuff from another leg or from some, I believe, do from the stomach. And so I feel pretty good about that. There's expected to be a good amount of sensation from that area because there's a lot of veins here. So I'm really not as worried about that as I once was. So I feel really good about that going forward. I'm feeling very blessed to not be very hairy, although I have more and more hair growing every day. It's dark hair, so what was recommended to me was laser. You can do electrolysis or you can do laser. There might be other methods, I'm not really sure what they are in terms of hair removal. The reason why you want to remove the hair is not just an aesthetic purpose, but actually because complications can often happen, and most frequently happen within the urethra, and if you have hairs growing in there, that's just not a good situation. So laser is great for those who have dark hair. Apparently there needs to be that pigmentation there as opposed to blonde or red hair or anything. So I'm very lucky that I have very dark brown hair, so I'm a great candidate for laser hair removal, and laser hair removal is supposed to be more effective, and it's supposed to be more affordable, and it's supposed to be less painful. So I have someone that Dr. Garcia recommended to me, and I'm already waiting to hear back on a call to proceed forward. Hopefully I will get it covered person who I spoke with earlier today has reassured me or given me good concepts to work around, where I'll get a letter from Dr. Garcia, which he already recommended or said that he was going to do for me if necessary. Can go and get reimbursed, hopefully, for the laser hair removal. So hopefully no big problems there. I need to start that process really quickly. Dr. Garcia said that it's going to take about 8 months. So that's like 6 to 10 sessions and basically one every 6 weeks. So it's gonna take time. I wanna start that process as soon as possible. So my 2 homework assignments are laser hair removal and getting my letters, and I have my next appointment with Dr. Garcia to check in November 25th at 10:45 a.m. I'm looking forward to that, but I've got a lot to get done before that point. So by then I'd like to be halfway through laser hair removal and have my letters, so that way I could make a date. I have no reason to believe that I shouldn't go with the Garcia Ray team after the research, and just based on now really understanding how crucial it is and how productive it can really be to live close to where your surgeons are. And I live like 10 to 20 minutes. I mean, it really depends on traffic, but without traffic, 10 to 20 minutes away from Cedars-Sinai, I mean, you can't get a better situation than that. It's really just more ideal. So length and girth. So with girth, I said, well, how much girth do you expect really I'll have based on what you looked at? I was like, I won't hold you to it, but I just want to have some concept of knowing what my length and girth will be. So he asked me what my weight was, what my height was, 5'4", around 120, and so he was like, you're probably not going to want to go longer than 5 to 5.5 inches, because you have to think about with a cisgender penis, you know, it'll be softer and smaller in the pants. So given my height and everything, it's, you know, there's a lot of aesthetics to talk about there, and also just comfort, because as he said to me, it's heavy. Those are his exact words. So there's a lot to think about, and it's very complex. In terms of girth, he basically just held up his hand and went like this. I imagine that, to me, I mean, his hands are much larger than mine, so I'm guessing a little bit bigger than a quarter. Nothing that startled me, either, you know, one way or another. It seems like a good girth. Basically, we've decided to go with urethral lengthening so that I can stand and pee, with the butt flap, as I said, to cover the RFF on the left arm, and we're going to do the pump. So he said that the rotator pump comes with, for erectile, for erections, the device comes with like these 2, what did he say, like, I think he phrased it as like cylinders or something like that. Kind of hard to wrap my mind around with just hand gestures and not knowing much more than that. Excuse me, but he said that basically it usually comes in 2 pieces. I've heard people getting 3 pieces, but he said that they usually merge it into 1 piece, the 2 pieces into 1. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's not expected to really change the girth or the length around. It's just a matter of having water that inflates it and gives you a more natural erection based on pumping a testicle. So there's going to be 3 phases, assuming there's no, you know, issues going forward. Those are the stages that we'll be going with. The first will be to create the phallus and prepare for the lengthening hookup. The second will be the hookup, as well as, I believe, the Phalloplasty and the Scrotoplasty, and then the third would be the pump. I personally believe that I really want to have tattooing. Yesterday, I saw results from a different surgical team, and I was blown away, and it turns out that both that team and Dr. Garcia's team were trained within the same aesthetics and methods through the London team, and the London team is like, oh, like in my opinion, that's like every time I see a result from the London team, I'm just like, oh my god, like, do I need to move to London? I know people that are actually considering doing that. So, you know, I've seen people write about that. So I think that, you know, tattooing has a big impact if you have a good tattooer, and I just got recommended for someone to talk to going forward. So that's something that happens basically a year after all the surgeries are done, and starting 1 through 3, that's going to be anywhere between a year to a year and a half. I mean, basically they said, like, well, based on what I'm going to be doing, yeah, it's going to take about a year and a half to do all those surgeries, because there's 4 months in between each recovery. So the first stage, you're in the hospital for about a week, 5 to 7 days, and we talked about cannabis. He doesn't have a problem with my cannabis use, he understands it, but he said that I would have to stop any form of vaporizing or smoking of cannabis. It would have to be only an edible form or another method 3 weeks prior and up to 6 weeks post-op. And he was like, are you going to be able to do that? And I looked at him and I was like, absolutely, I promise. Like, it's going to be challenging. I know I say it now with such confidence. It's going to be hard, but I will figure it out. Like, it's about the long-term goal. Every single second of every day, my bottom dysphoria is torturing me. And one of my earliest memories of my life, of childhood, was age 5 trying to pee standing up. My siblings are like 5 years younger than me, so we had diapers, you know, and I would line the toilet when everyone would go to sleep, and I would try to pee over the toilet standing up. And I know that I need this. So I'm really looking forward to this process, but I'm also overwhelmed. It's daunting. There's a huge amount of information, a lot of choices to be made, but I feel like I made a lot of choices today, and I thought that I wasn't so educated on them, but I think that I'm more educated than I realized, and that it's a long process and you kind of learn as you go, and things are changing all the time. By the time, if I take 8 months to get a laser hair removal, even if I started, hypothetically, let's say, even if I started it this week, it would take like 8 months, and then by the time I even get in, let's say probably a year from now, anything can happen. So many things are happening and advancing within these surgeries. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep an open mind. My biggest concern is having things covered and money. Figuring out, how do I stay afloat? How do I keep my businesses that I'm building afloat? What does build confidence, even though I don't want to be waiting, I obviously wish that I already had this all finished and done with, but the 8 months gives me time to really get more stable in my overall health and financially. And yeah, it's a big concern, but hearing that I'm probably going to be able to get coverage for the laser hair removal is a big thing, and I think I should be able to get all the surgery covered between my insurances, except tattooing might be a challenge. So yeah, just taking it one step at a time, one day at a time. I'm going to, in the near future, set up a group so that way people can follow my journey, ask questions. I definitely want to take this privilege and be very open about it. So if you're someone who's considering phalloplasty, or you're someone who's incredibly close to me and you want details, to make sure that I'm okay, you want to understand what's going on, whatever the case may be on those levels, we'll make it known that the group is open, and it'll be a closed private group, but I'll make it known that it exists, and you can come on in and start this journey with me. So, whew. Thank you. This has been a big day. There's a lot to process. A lot is going on here, but I really wanted to have my surgeries all completed by the time I was 35, and today is the first day where I feel like that's actually possible. Not only that, it seems probable that within the next 2 to 2.5 years, I could be completely done even within tattooing. So just manifesting and keeping it going. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.